Hello everybody, and welcome to taking your classroom to the next level. As we all know, we cannot be limited by one program, one resource, or one mobile device. The trick is to always use more of a multitude of units to actually bring them all together to create an amazing lesson. I'm here today to talk about the 3-app challenge. The 3-app challenge is taking 3 applications or resources or more and putting them together to create an incredible lesson. So filming here on March 21st and starting right now, I'm here to talk about the 3-app challenge. The 3-app challenge is a concept I actually came up with about a year ago. It's where I took more than one application on an iPad and actually decided to make them all together to make a complete full lesson for students that actually would not be time consuming or very difficult. I started, of course, as a simple basis of using Keynote. Keynote, of course, can be created with PowerPoints of any type that you can use, transition, and share in many other ways. I decided to come up with a better concept where we took Keynote and actually used it as the first step to create an amazing lesson. My first trick, of course, with Keynote was to take the actual lesson on the application. I created a normal PowerPoint like I always did. However, my main trick was I did not turn it into a simple PowerPoint presentation to share on something like Google Drive or Dropbox. I actually exported it as a PDF. As a PDF, I was able to export it and then use it in a program known as Nearpod. For those who wonder, Nearpod is an interactive lesson that actually allows you to take PowerPoints in PDF forms or other slides and make them a full application that can be utilized in real time for students to learn all at the same time. The students cannot go on as the teacher does. So what I did, of course, was first I started by making a group of slides using everything from Google search to PicCollage to create amazing background slides on the subject. I then put them together on Keynote. After I did that, I exported them as a PDF and uploaded them to Nearpod. You can find that out at nearpod.com. After that, I added a couple extra units to the presentation, such as quizzes, whiteboard application, and a couple other videos. Once that was finished, I finished and published the final unit and then gave it as a full lesson to the students on weather. It's worked very well, and the students found it more engaging and enjoyable to the point they wanted to create their own lessons. Another 3-app challenge, as we all know, that I love to use is Stick Around. Stick Around, of course, you can find on the iPad. It usually rounds for $2.99 or $1.49 on VPP purchase on the iPad or the App Store. What I did was, for a little different, is I created a full Stick Around puzzle. What I did then is afterwards I exported it to Google Drive. I then actually took the links to the actual shared file for students and put in a ThingLink. For those who don't know, ThingLink works as a photo tagging program that can be used both on mobile and desktop applications. Once that I took and created my Stick Around puzzle, I of course made it as a shared link directly into ThingLink. I also then added some extra little points to it. In this case, I did it on the solar system. Once I had put in some basic informations and videos on the ThingLink, I then shared the link through both either a QR code or Chirp, so students could then not only learn about the solar system, but also use and play the puzzle, which they could do. I've also made this an application to where the students themselves can create their own Stick Around puzzles, upload them to their Google Drives, and also share them on their own ThingLinks. Now, I've been talking about mobile applications here, such as the iPad, which also could work on anything such as a Chromebook or other tablet device. However, the 3-app challenge also works very well with actually online resources. As I talked about with ThingLink, you actually can create a set of actual classroom instructions. One I like to use a lot is Blubber. Blubber, if nobody knows, is actually a type of resource which you can turn to a quiz or bell ringer exercise for students on desktop computers. What I do is I create the quiz normally as I would in Blubber. I then embed it into a link which has actually been put together through some applications such as just simply using Google Storyteller or as well as Google Forms and other units and putting it together right there in the ThingLink. Students can then access it on their computers on their own time or during classroom time, take the Blubber quiz and actually go in and click on the forms and enter actually what they thought or other questions they would like through the ThingLink. Another way, of course, is Kahoot. And for those who don't know, Kahoot is an online bell ringer, which I've actually talked about quite a bit and actually have done many talk about it on my Twitter feed. Kahoot actually works the same way as Blubber, but it works on any device, anything from desktop to mobile. And what I do as an example for it is actually I use Edmodo along with Kahoot as well as Nearpod. My first trick is actually to create a Nearpod presentation online that the students can then take usually during class time. I then direct them on the final one over to ThingLink, which actually has a full set of arrangements for actually what they're taking on for lessons or quizzes or just review. After that, they go to a direct link right there on Kahoot, which they can download onto their any device and then play it as the teacher's time. This works as a great review and refresher course between the three applications. That actually doesn't just work on online resource and desktop, but across everything from mobile to desktop. There are many ways you can do the 3-app challenge. The 3-app challenge just begins with you. The best ways to do it is to pick a lesson. After that, divide what little 3 applications you actually can use between them. Once you do that, simply create the lesson and do a small tutorial for your students. After that, just turn it loose. You will realize that students actually learn a lot more when they're actually able to work on their own about how making their own 3-app challenge. One that was incredible that was actually made by one of my students is where they actually used PicCollage along with green screen doing, such as the one I'm kind of similar doing right here. And once they did that, they actually embedded it into a final version, actually in iMovie, where they created what was an amazing weather report or Spanish lesson or even just a simple little news program. It's very amazing how they were able to do it, and they did it in less than 40 minutes. This does not take a lot of prep time. It does not take a lot of class time once students and teachers become aware and how to use the best practices of the 3-app challenge. The 3-app challenge is something that I think works great for any classroom in any division, whether you're the one technology classroom to the full one-on-one classroom. It works everything from PK straight through college. The 3-app challenge is to show that you cannot just rely on one source for learning and education. It is to do through a plethora of many that actually does not take a lot of time or effort. I hope the 3-app challenge works for your classroom or for any lesson you're hoping to design in the future, or any time you feel like you need to use a lesson that works fantastic for your students. I hope you've enjoyed this version of taking your classroom to the next level of vidcasts, and if you have any questions, you can contact me on my Twitter feed at Ryan7Reed. In the meantime, you also can check out my blog at Taking Your Classroom to the Next Level on WordPress. Thank you for walking with this little tutorial of mine about the 3-app challenge, and I hope everyone has a fantastic spring.